What is going on, everyone? I made $630 in 4 minutes today trading the NASDAQ, and I'm going to walk you through exactly step by step on what I did. Here was the daily bias, as you can see, at 8:37. Yes, I know it was late. I was driving. I said, good morning, looking bullish. I'm aligned with multiple higher time frame confluences. So as you can see, we had a 15-minute, a 30-minute, a 1 hour, and then I think a little lower 4 hours. So we started off by marking out our daily highs and daily lows. Usually we would target these lows because yesterday was a bearish day, but because we had such an unfilled gap, I was very skeptical on which direction to go until I looked at the lower time frames. Based off the 4 hours, already very bullish. So I'm continuing going down to the 1 hour, marking out all the confluences. So we had a 1 hour fair value gap here. We had a 1 hour fair value gap, a second one right here. Really seeing what price is doing. And like I said, we're already bullish. So I'm really seeing which fair value gap or lower time frame confluences are getting respected to align with these higher time frame confluences. You don't really have to mark this one out because look, this one's already been filled. So even if price breaks through this doesn't mean anything anymore. So that's why I did not originally mark it out. So now that we have all of our confluences marked out, I'm getting rid of the ones I don't need now that I know for sure what I do and don't need. So our major alignments is right here in this fair value gap. And what I was looking at was stupidity. All right, I'll be totally blunt. Like, I was being so stupid. I forced the frick out of this trade, dude. My confluences for this first trade right here, all we had was an inverse fair value gap and market structure shift. That was it. And look how terrible this was, this price action. I totally forced it. I was in profit for like 1 second and just instantly stopped me out. My confluences for this first trade was just a market structure shift and an inverse fair value gap, and that's it. So it was a stupid trade, and we were in a premium zone. I should have known that. It was really dumb. And so here's my second trade. So price dropped down to the 15, 30, and 1 hour fair value gap. And so that's when I really dropped back down, started looking for an entry model. And the first thing we got, confluence one, we got a liquidity sweep. So first confluence, we had a liquidity sweep. Second confluence, we had a inverse fair value gap. So this alone was enough for me to take the trade. I was nervous because of the last trade, but two, we also had a breaker block. So we had liquidity sweep on this. We had an order block. This order block was disrespected, so that became a breaker block. So I had a very nice feeling that price was going to retrace to it. I did not use that as an entry. I also used the Fibonacci tool because price continued going up, created 3 fair value gaps, and I knew one needed a retracement too. And I set a limit order right on the 50%. But it really went to that breaker block. Maybe I should start looking at breaker blocks for entrances. Kidding. Anyway, so yeah, set a limit order. Let's just buy right here. I don't really care. Price shot up and then continued to pump like a mother trucker. So we'll go over confluences. Our confluences so far: liquidity sweep, inverse fair value gap, market structure shift. We have a liquidity sweep towards the downside. Then what? A displacement candle. That's an order block. That order block is disrespected by this candle. What does that turn into? That turns into a breaker block. So confluence number 4, we also had a, ooh, wow, what the heck am I doing? We had a BB. Confluence 5, fair value gaps. I set my limit order at equilibrium plus that breaker block. EQ. And this was an A plus setup. Why? We had a 1 hour fair value gap, we had a 30-minute fair value gap, we had a 15-minute fair value gap, and a 5-minute fair value gap, all aligned together. Then what were our confluences? We had a liquidity sweep right here. What happened next? We had an inverse fair value gap with a market structure shift, with a breaker block, and a fair value gap with a retracement to equilibrium. This was an A plus setup. Look what happens when you stack your confluences. I was willing to risk 800 and it was like $850 actually. I was willing to risk $850 to make $850 because I was so confident in this strategy. And that's what happens when you stack confluences. It feels like you cannot lose with this strategy compared to the one trade where I took one confluence. This is a great learning moment for you guys because this is what happens when you force trades. You lose, and I lost instantly. I was in the profit for 5 seconds, dude. Not even. 14 minutes, if I waited 14 minutes, instead of being $200 up on the day times 3 accounts, so $630, instead of being $630 on the day, I could have been $2,400 on the day. And that's what happens when you force trades. The market is going to punch you in the face, and you have to accept that because you decided to force that trade. Thank you all for watching this. I have a Discord if you need extra help to join in. We'll go over trades, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, how I'm finding my daily buys, why I'm trading what I'm trading. Anyway, well, I love you guys. God bless. Have an amazing day. Stay safe.